Found it in the cedar chest, wrapped up like a prayer. The brim still bowed to Sunday sun and rodeo stained air. Smell like leather, motor oil, and summer wheat turned gold. The kind of scent that makes a grown man feel 10 years old. Mama said he wore it proud when Friday paychecks came, to two-step in the VFW and sign his nickname James. He took a photograph inside of me and Mom and June, said every cowboy needs a sky, and you two are my moon. He taught me how to stand up straight and tip it when you greet. Show respect to preachers, widows, soldiers on the street. He said a hat can't make a man, but it can mark the vow to ride the rough stock of your days and never let life count. Years have blown like prairie dust across the family porch. We buried friends and welded dreams with midnight Celine torch. Sometimes I hear his boot heels in the kitchen after 9, a rhythm soft as scripture lines, a metronome in time. There's dust on Daddy Stetson, but the crown still holds the light. A halo made of barroom songs and long days turning night. The sweatband reads his miles, the brim remembers rain. How he bowed it in the doorway when he came back home again. If I wear it to the mirror, I can feel his steady hand saying, son, we ain't the weather, just the ones who learn to stand. There's dust on Daddy Stetson, and I swear I hear him say, tip your hat to what you love and ride on anyway. I took that hat to Main Street, where the feed store used to be. Now it's vinyl neon smoothies, where they kept the corn and seed. The clerk said, sir, that's vintage, like I was selling time. But you don't pawn a promise for a nickel or a dime. I wore it to the graveside by the cottonwood and creek, where the wind recites the names that sorrow can't quite speak. A choir of meadow larks cut loose their simple hymn, and I tip that brim to heaven. Dad, I still ride for them. I've chased a crowd of pay stubs, chased a couple lies, tried to rope a brighter future under thinning skies. But love's the only lariat that cinches what is true, and faith's the dust that settles when the storm is finally through. So when I feel the bar stool call like sirens from the pier, I hear his gentle thunder say, son, buy your mother's beer. Hold the door for anyone who teaches you to stay, and wear your name like leather, broken in the honest way. There's dust on Daddy Stetson, but the crown still holds the light. A halo made of barroom songs and long days turning night. The sweatband reads his miles, the brim remembers rain. how he bowed it in the doorway when he came back home again. If I wear it to the mirror, I can feel his steady hand saying, son, we ain't the weather, just the ones who learn to stand. There's dust on Daddy Stetson, and I swear I hear him say, tip your hat to what you love and ride on anyway. One day my boy will find it, fold it soft as prayer, and smell the summer fields I left stitched in that air. He'll ask me who I learned from, I'll nod to where the wind carries boot heel echoes and the man I've tried to mend. I'll teach him how you tip it when the world gives or it takes, how the brim can shelter mercy when your stubborn backbone breaks. Hat or no hat, son, remember this refrain: grace is dust that shines when it's caught in window pane. There's dust on Daddy Stetson, but we're brighter for the wear. A family made of leathered love and long shot answered prayers. The sweatband reads our miles, the brim still knows the rain, and we bow it in the doorway when we come back home again. If you wear it to the mirror, feel his weathered steady hand. Storms can take your fences, boy, but not the way you stand. There's dust on Daddy Stetson, may our sons and daughters say, we tipped our hats to what we love and rode on anyway.
The strip was humming diesel blue, the night a lonesome stage where broken hearts chase radio dials across the AM range. I saw you under beer sign light, the open flicker slow, a cowgirl with a comic grin, roping shadows in the glow. Your denim jacket broadcast on, your boots could stomp a prayer. You said I wrote the darkness, boy, and drag it into air. You twirled a neon Lariat made from dive bar moon and threw it around my foolish chest and reeled me into June. We danced on cracked linoleum, a jukebox let it bleed, old Haggard preaching mercy till I busted up Stampede. You laughed like lightning splitting sky, then kissed me brim to chin, and never know I'd learned to say God hogtied by your grin. You said I'm wanted in 3 counties for theft I can't undo. I stole back all my wasted time from men who never grew. I said I'm wanted by my memories for love I never gave. You dusted off my saddle hard and said let's misbehave. Neon Lariat, swing me through this night, tie me to your wildfire and pull me into light. Burn my name in cursive on the dark side of the sign. Brand me with your thunder till the morning says you're mine. Neon Lariat, circle wide and true. I've been chasing every ghost, tonight I'm caught by you. Tore down Highway 90 where the truck stops sell their dreams, past towns with names like Second Chance and Little Shiloh Springs. We talked about our runaways, the versions we outgrew. You
for choking, babe. They're meant to hold you loose. We tried our hands at clean slates, got jobs that paid in tips, safe quarters in a jar marked sky, and kissed between the shifts. But every town has sheriffs made of whispers and of blame. The rumors drew their pistols and they asked us both our names. You spun that neon Lariat above the courthouse lawn. It shone like revelation, bright as all our old sins gone. I swore I'd never drop the line that joined your night to mine. You said then pull when I say pull, and I will pull in time. Neon Lariat, swing me through this night, tie me to your wildfire and pull me into life. Burn my name in cursive on the dark side of the sign. Brand me with your thunder till the morning says you're mine. Neon Lariat, circle wide and true. I've been chasing every ghost. Tonight I'm called by you. And if we lose the power and the letters all go dark, if open turns to open, every bulb forgets its spark, we'll braid the dawn in lariats of cotton candy skies, and rope the day together with the twinkle in your eyes. Because the glow ain't just electric, it's a vow we never spoke. Two outlaws who surrendered when the right kind of rope found the ribs that guard the heart and looped a gentler brand, to be tethered not by fear but by faithful hand. Neon Lariat, swing me through what's next, rope me to your laughter, let it ride our sacred text. Burn my name beside you, not above and not below. Two letters in one cursive line, a sign that always glows. Neon Lariat, circle wide and true. If the night goes dark, I'll shine because of you.
They raise that silo like a hem-white tower to the plains, where wheat goes up like whispered sins and pours back down as grain. At dawn the augurs sing their psalms, the trucks line up in pews. Men in caps with coffee cups recite the harvest news. I learned my catechism in the dust and diesel roar, that faith is just a stubborn seed that cracks a concrete floor. Daddy said the good Lord's kind but practical as nails. He lends the rain in installments, son, and asks you not to fail. Mama kept a ledger book of mercies and of bills, balanced grace against the price of feed and winter chills. She prayed in simple fractions, Lord, divide this week by two, multiply the jars of beans and carry me and you. I passed a girl in Sunday dress, her freckles bright as straw. She smiled like she'd seen Bethlehem inside our busted draw. We courted by the elevator, counting clouds like sheep, and kissed behind the scale house where the secrets gather deep. It's a grain elevated gospel rising from the land, a sermon made of weathered wood and someone's calloused hands. The choir is a diesel call, the organ steel and wind. Redemption measured bushel wide, forgiveness weighed again. If you're looking for a church that lets a sinner earn his keep, there's a grain elevated gospel where the heart and harvest meet. The banker came in summer suit, his tie a righteous noose. Said margins fell like sparrows, son, we're cutting all the loops. Daddy tipped his cap and stood the brim a little frayed. Said, sir, we're not a ledger line, we're people who have prayed. The preacher said a potluck out on plywood by the scales. Casseroles like sacraments, sweet tea in paper pails. A neighbor brought a spare part for our tired case machine. Said, pay me when the rain gets brave and turns this brown to green.
That girl became my covenant beneath the cotton sky. We married in a hayloft where the swallows learned to fly.
Our rings were made of twine. At first they held like stubborn hope. We promised to pull steady at each other's weathered rope. We buried some October dreams and some Julys we danced. We worried through the August when the cloud bank never glanced. But every year the silos sang and we returned to kneel, to pour our doubts like kernels and believe in what we feel. It's a great elevated gospel rising from the land, a sermon made of weathered wood and someone's calloused hands. The choir is a diesel cough, the organ steel and wind. Redemption measured bushel wide, forgiveness weighed again. If you're looking for a church that lets a sinner earn his keep, there's a grain elevated gospel where the heart and harvest meet. Now Daddy walks a slower pace, the stairs have grown too steep. I climb for both of us and watch the morning gather sheep. From up here every sorrow looks like furrows in a row. You plant them with your tears and someday wildflowers grow. That girl, now woman, storm and light, still waits beside the scale. We tally up the mercies when the winter tries to fail. She hums a hymn of stubborn joy that threshes out my fear. And in the bin of everything, her voice is what I hear.
It's a grain elevated gospel, Lord, we're yours to raise. Stack us high with second chances, crown these dusty days.
Let the auger sing Hosanna, let the steel declare amen. We'll load the trucks with gratitude and start the prayer again. If you're looking for a church that lets a broken pilgrim eat, there's a grain elevated gospel where the heart and harvest meet.
Midnight hangs like lantern light from rafters made of scars, a quilt of county stories stitched with nickel-spinted bars. Miller sweeps the sawdust while the jukebox fades to hum. He knows by boot print patterns who's too lonely to go home. The neon horse above the door blinks easy, then blinks so, like life forgets the easy part and leaves you with the road. I'm nursing last a bourbon with a buckle full of doubt.
counting every shoulda danced before the lights go out. She's at the far end nursing sweet tea with a lime. Her dress a shade of June that never listens to the time. Her ring is thin as spider thread, it glitters like almost. Her laugh says I have been a bride to every passing ghost. We talk of jobs and towns and trucks that won't begin, of brothers lost to chasing storms and lovers lost to gin. Then silence drifts between us like a hayfield after rain. Not empty, just a resting place for words that might explain. Last call at Miller's barn, where the lonely meet the brave, where goodbye tastes like whiskey and hello learns to behave. The fiddle puts its case away, the steel lets go its cry, and two folks at a corner table teach the night to try. Last call at Miller's barn, when the truth is all you want. If you've got a heart to lend, this is how it's long. Miller flips the bar stools up like prayers against the flood. Says, kids, I'll mop around you, just don't slip on old man mud. We laugh and trade some stories that we only tell at two, when sin looks like a souvenir and grace looks just like you. She says she almost married a man who loved the chase, but when the music stopped, he didn't have a place. I say I've often been the hound who outran his own bar, afraid of being seen, so I stayed out in the dark. The jukebox coughs a second wind, the needle finds a friend, some 1980 heartbreak that believes it can still mend. I ask if she would dance, though the floor is mostly broom. We slow step through the sawdust like there's starlight in the room. She sets her head against my chest, where boot scar stories thrum, and every shoulda danced I kept begins to come undone. If love's a barn at closing time, perhaps it never ends, just locks the door to strangers and turns us into friends. Last call at Miller's barn, where the lonely meet the brave, where goodbye tastes like whiskey and hello learns to behave. The fiddle puts its case away, the steel lets go its cry, and two folks at a corner table teach the night to try. Last call at Miller's barn, when the truth is all you own. If you've got a heart to lend, this is how it's loaned. Miller kills the neon and the horse goes back to sleep. The rafters keep our whispers like a promise they will keep. Outside the gravel sermon says, be careful where you fall. Inside her palm and mine says we don't have to lose it all. If morning is a witness that we meant what we just swore, then meet me when the rooster crows and we'll unlock the door. We'll sweep the floor together, build a life from what remains, and stack our little losses like good lumber in the rain.
Last call at Miller's barn, but the song ain't finished yet. There's a verse out in the daylight we still haven't written set. Let the steel make a tender vow, let the fiddle kiss the air, let the broom mark the rhythm of a prayer that says we'll dare. Last call at Miller's barn, where the brave become the known. If you've got a heart to lend, this is how it's grown.
Room 217 hums like a hymn swallowed by the walls. A Gideon on the dresser and a number you could call. The ice machine is coughing out a sermon made of rain, and every door along this road knows someone else's name. I checked in with a suitcase full of thunder that I stole from the last fight at the last bar, where I finally lost my role. You showed up with a sundown smile, a tarnished silver key. Said every saint I ever met still slept beside a plea. We spread our prayers like motel sheets, thin cotton, frayed and worn. You traced a cross in dust and said, this is our little storm. In neon-stained commandments, the vacancy sign confessed that sometimes grace is just a roof when love can't catch its breath. You read from that motel Bible words underlined in grief. Blessed are the broken spirit, they're the ones who find belief. I laugh like someone dying who remembers how to live. And in the drawer with no more pens I wrote the word forgive. Thunderbird Motel Bible, open to the night. Teach two worn-out fugitives the gentle way to fight. If mercy's in the margins and hope is underlined, let every page we turn be one we finally sign. Thunderbird Motel Bible, whisper while we mend. If the room forgets our names, then write them down again. We ate from paper cartons, drew halos in the steam, made angels out of napkins that believed in second dreams. The TV preached commercials, the preacher in a suit, but we found prophets in our scars and psalms in honest truth. You told me of a mother who could sing the rust off tin, a father shaped like brimstone who could never let you in. I told you about the cattle guard I carried in my chest, that rattled when the night drove through and never let me rest. We slept like outlaws pardoned, still twitching in our sleep, but woke up with our fingers laced like branches that can't weep. The morning turned the parking lot to holy water's glare, and truckers bowed to coffee like it was their only prayer. We folded up the bed spreadsheet map and circled where we'd been, the roads we took to flee ourselves and roads to turn again. A maid knocks soft at checkout, honey, time to go or stay. We tipped her with a thank you and our leftover ashtray. Thunderbird Motel Bible, open to the day. Show two pilgrims in blue denim where the straight roads stray. If mercy's in the margins and hope is underlined, let every page we turn be proof we changed our mind. Thunderbird Motel Bible, keep your whisper thin. If the world forgets our names, please write them down again. And if the neon flickers out and we can't read the lines, we'll trace them with our fingertips like braille across our spines. Because heaven isn't distant, it's the moment we confess. We're frightened, tired, stubborn, but still willing to be blessed. We'll leave a note for strangers in the drawer with folded prayer. Forgiveness pays in quarters. Take what's there and leave what's there. Let's hang the do not disturb sign on every old regret, and answer when the knock comes from the life we haven't met. Thunderbird Motel Bible, holy in its dust. Guard our vows in ballpoint ink and laminate our trust. If mercy's in the margins and hope is underlined, we'll sign our names together on the lease we couldn't find. Thunderbird Motel Bible, amen and amen. If the room forgets our names, please write them down again.
We got married by the tracks where cinders fall like lace. Your veil was diesel shimmer and a smudge on your sweet face. The preacher was a brakeman with a pocket watch for time, and the choir were the mourning doves that nested in the pines.
You wore a ring of iron and I wore one just the same. We vowed to bend like rail, but never crack beneath the strain. Your bouquet was of wildflowers picked from yards of men on break, who tipped their caps and muttered, son, don't let that promise shake.
The coal train rolled behind us like an organ made of steel, 100 black lung memories and paychecks on its wheels. The photographer was your cousin with a Polaroid and hope, and every picture came out soft like mercy in the smoke.
We cut a cake of cornbread with a pocket knife and grin, and danced on pallets nailed to 2 oil drums of tin.
The rhythm was a hammer, strike the bass, a boot on board. We two stepped into married life with splinters for reward.
bless the vows we planned. Ties fast and true, my love, with a Coltrane wedding band. We honeymooned at shift change in a trailer by the bend. The window faced the yard lights like a pocket full of friends. We counted cars like promises, the empties and the full, and learned which ones to let roll by and which were worth the pull. Your hands kept house with miracles, you ironed out my doubt. Stitched curtains from old work shirts, sewed tenderness throughout. I learned to pack a lunch of I'll be home and mean it, to wipe the soot from prayer and never let you clean it. When layoffs came in winter like a frost that bit the wire, we burned our plans for kindling just to coax a little fire. But even then the night was warm whenever you would sing a tune that wrapped our shivering in thick invisible string. You found a gig at diner shifts, I hauled on other crews. We traded tired kisses like we traded steel-toed shoes. The train that stole our hours brought them back on certain dawns. We climbed aboard our courage and kept moving on. Coltrane wedding band, circle forged in fire, made of every overtime and every borrowed tire. Clack and hum and whistle cry, bless the vows we planned. Ties fast and true, my love, with a Coltrane wedding band. Someday when our hair goes white as limestone in the rain, we'll sit beside a window counting promises again. We'll hear a whistle miles away and reach for wrinkled hands, and feel the pulse of younger hearts still wearing working bands. If heaven has a railroad, let the platform be our porch. We'll watch the trains of mercy roll their lanterns like a torch. We'll wave our old kerchiefs at the crew that brought us through, and whisper all aboard to every vow we ever knew. Coltrane wedding band, iron bent to will, temper us with tears and make us tender, make us still. Clack and hum and whistle cry, bless the life we've spanned. Tie us fast forevermore, Coltrane wedding band. Told the judge I wasn't there when he even turned to blame. Said I left before the trouble, when the jukebox changed its name. But counties talk in whispers and they point with pollen hands. Every bluebonnet in the ditch said, boy, we know your plans. You were wearing summer thunder and a belt of bottled rain. We traded promises like matches, one small spark and then a flame. We ran out past the windmill where the road forgets to turn, and hid among the blossoms while our old mistakes still burn. The sheriff said he saw a truck that looked a lot like mine, a ghost of tire tracks leading where the dirt road meets the pine. But flowers keep their secrets like a choir sworn to hush. They bowed their little heads in blue and held our heat and rush. We lay on Texas postcards while the moon practiced her law. You traced my name in petals till it sounded like it saw. I swore I didn't start the fight that started all this run, but I did start believing I could be a braver one. Blue forgive our breath and make a little room. If truth is hard to tell beneath the judge's eye, let mercy be a medal. Bluebonnet Alibi. We reversed across the timeline till the barroom played it slow, till the bartender remembered, pouring peace instead of woe. We paid our tab in quiet, left a note for who we were. Sorry for the weather, signed the storm and the concur. You said let's find a better lie, one honest in its hue, where everything we make up is the good we mean to do. I folded up my temper like an outlaw folds his coat, and holstered every syllable that might have cut your throat. By daylight we were witnesses to lives we hadn't lived. The bluebonnets took statements in the language they forgive. The sheriff wrote a warning, son, just get her safely home. And in the margin drew a petal like a badge we'd grown. We promised we would tend this land where anger used to breed, and plant a line of kindness every place we used to bleed. The road confessed our tile marks, but flowers framed the scene. A case dismissed for lack of pain, dismissed for what we mean. Bluebonnet alibi, cover me in bloom. Let the night forgive our breath and make a little room. If truth is hard to tell beneath a judge's eye, let mercy be a medal. Bluebonnet alibi. And if the summer drought returns to cross-examine rain, we'll testify with watering cans and vows that know our names. We'll raise a fence of gentleness and mend it when it breaks. We'll plead the fifth on bitterness and take the stand for grace. The petals will be jurors who remember what we chose, to trade our old defense for love and rest our case in prose. Bluebonnet alibi, may the record show. Two outlaws of their tempers learned a sweeter way to go. Let blue and green and gold conspire to sanctify our future sworn and signed. Bluebonnet alibi. Bluebonnet alibi. There's a split rail fence where the county lines divide, a little chapel made of pickup trucks that park and close their eyes. We meet there every payday when the sun clocks out at 4, to confess the weeks we carried like a 2x4. I've lied to bosses, ghosts, and all the mirrors in my life, but here I tell the truth to you and watch it turn to light. You bring coffee in a thermos, I bring apologies. We pour them both and sip them slow and let the gravel breathe. You ask me if I'm faithful to the man I swear to be. I answer with my roughest hands and lay them on your knee. You say you flirt with leaving when the rent collector calls, but then you touch the steering wheel and drive back to our walls. We trade our wrong direction for a map we barely trust, and promise to keep driving when the axle scrapes the rust. between the water tower and the sign that says begin. We shed our counterfeit and choose our truer skin. County line confessional, wind and wire and sky. Tell you what I'm scared of till it loses half its size. If mercy's just a border where the hurt goes soft and kind, meet me by the split rail fence, I'll speak my clearest mind. Last Friday I was jealous of the ease you wear at work. How people gather at your laugh and call you blessed, not berserk. It made me small and mean until I saw your shaking hand. Hiding under desk lamp glow, a tremor like the sand. You said I'm not a miracle, just practiced at the mask, and peeled it off right there for me without my having asked. We sat with that unvarnished face and took a holy breath. Two sinners at a picnic with the preacher's hat of death. A sheriff passed and nodded, y'all alright? We raised a thumb like kids who just got caught and told the truth, for once not dumb. A hawk drew lazy circles as if signing what we said, and everything we couldn't fix just slowly turned to bread. We fed each other patience where our tempers used to bite. We stretched across the county line and shook the day to right. Your jaw unclenched its weather, my shoulders lost their war, and gasoline smelled sweet, like we can try some more. County line confessional, wind and wire and sky. Tell you what I'm scared of till it loses half its size. If mercy's just a border where the hurt goes soft and kind, meet me by the split rail fence, I'll speak my clearest mind. One day we'll bring our children here to hear the gravel song, to watch the barbed wire silver in an evening made of calm. We'll teach them how a line can bless if crossed with careful feet, and how the truth when spoken soft will make a home complete. We'll carve our names in fence posts like two families before, a ledger of confessions that became an open door. County line confessional, I vow again tonight to name my storms out loud to you and give them smaller light. If mercy's just a border where the hurt learns how to mend, we'll meet here till forever and begin again, my friend.
I mailed you from a courthouse town where Sunday wears a tie, where liquor stores are legends and the jukebox learned to cry. The stamps taste like a memory, the ink like summer drought, and every word I wrote you tried to coax forgiveness out. Dear love, I started formal like a letter to a judge. Enclosed you'll find the truth with no attempt to make it budge. I chose a road of stubborn dust when rain was free to choose. I I let the bottle be my sky and called my thunder news. The barber knows the gossip like a prophet cutting hair. He trims the split ends off the past and sweeps up people's prayers. A deacon sells tomatoes out behind the hardware store and tells me, son, a garden's just a grave that learned to roar. Your last note said you're tired of my promises on layaway, that love is not a pawn shop where regret can save the day. So here's my oath in postage, licked and pressed to travel straight. If I can't quit the thirst for rage, I'll learn a better fate. Postcard from a dry county, no whiskey in the well, but I could drown in everything I never meant to tell. If absence is a desert and my words are only sand, I'll send this little river just to find your open hand. The diner pours redemption by the mug and calls it black. The waitress slides me mercy with my eggs and says come back. I walk the churchyard reading stones like chapters in a book, and study how the hyphens fit between the years they took. I see a couple arguing by the pharmacy and bank. I wanna mail them all my stamps and ask the drought for thanks, because sometimes when the glass is full I think I'm near a sea. But storms can drown a sailor while a desert makes him free. I'm stacking up my sober days like postcards on a twine. No fancy frames or filters, just the honest county line. If you can't trust my calendar, then don't just trust tonight. A lantern in a window does not guarantee the light, but someone lit it anyway, and that someone could be me. A man who used to worship thirst now kneels to clarity. I'm learning how to listen to the dust beneath my boot. It whispers, son, you're made of rain, go find your buried root. Postcard from a dry county, no whiskey in the well, but I could drown in everything I never meant to tell. If absence is a desert and my words are only sand, I'll send this little river just to find your open hand. And if you never answer, I will understand the law. Some letters don't return, some borders never thaw. But if you hang this postcard on your fridge beside a list and glance at it at breakfast like a rumor you once kissed, know this: I'm building cisterns out of patience, out of time. I'm saving all the rainfall of a different kind of wine. If love is water, let it come. If love is work, I'll sweat. If love is just a path through sand, I'll follow where we met. Postcard from a dry county, stamped and set to roam. A picture of an empty glass that's learning what is home. If absence is a desert and my words can't reach your land, I'll keep on sending rivers till you take
It started with a thunderclap and rain across the tin. I watched the water sermon as it beat against my sin. The barn was half a chapel where the horses bowed their heads, and lightning traced a cross outside in white and sudden threads. I'd come here for confession, not to preacher, not to crowd, but to the roof that never judged, just thundered fierce and loud. I knelt beside the feed sacks, whispered names I'd thrown away, and asked the roof to listen like a heaven made of clay. Each drop that fell was scripture, each echo like a song, a rhythm made of a reckoning that somehow felt like calm. I thought of every promise I had broken out of pride, and how the ones I heard had left but still stood by my side. There's something holy about a leak that drips on worn out floors. You learn that blessings fall the same through busted, rusted doors. So I stayed there in the thunder till the dawn began to hum, and found the courage not to flee from what I'd come undone. 10 roof benediction, bless this broken man. Wash me clean with second thoughts, and do it if you can. Let every drop that hits this barn be mercy falling down. Let thunder be the choir and forgiveness be the sound. 10 roof benediction, beat until I see that rain is just redemption spilled in water over me. By morning all the puddles were small mirrors of the sky, and in them I saw faces of the ones who'd heard me lie. The storm had scrubbed the world so hard the paint began to peel, but what was left beneath the rust felt something close to real. I climbed up on the rafters, looked out across the field. The fence was bent but standing, proof of hearts that never yield. You don't need stained glass windows when the clouds can split the light, and you don't need to read the word to know when wrong turns right. I drove into town later, mud tattooed across my knees. The diner girls just grinned and said, "You praying in the breeze." I laughed and tipped my coffee cup as if it were a cross. Said, yeah, I went to church in rain and made peace with my loss. The waitress nodded soft like she'd seen such storms before. Said, honey, every soul I've met's got thunder to restore. And when she walked away, I heard the jukebox fade to hush, and over bacon, grease, and dawn, the Lord replied in rust. 10 roof benediction, bless this broken man. Wash me clean with second thoughts, and do it if you can. Let every drop that hits this barn be mercy falling down. Let thunder be the choir and forgiveness be the sound. 10 roof benediction, beat until I see that rain is just redemption spilled in water over me. And if I stray again, Lord, let the thunder find my name. Let raindrops write my story where the sinners stay the same. Remind me faith's not spotless, it's the mud we choose to till. A grace that leaks through rooftops when we learn to be still. If heaven's got a barn like this, with storms that make me kneel, then count me in the rainfall where the roof can help me heal. 10 Roof Benediction, I'm your choir now too. I'll hammer out my gratitude with every nail that's true. Let every drop that hits this heart be mercy falling down. Let thunder be my offering, redemption be the sound. 10 Roof Benediction, keep on breaking free. Rain's the Lord's own hand,